part of this event. Some of you know what I do, some of you are new to me, so I'll just kind of give you a little bit of an overview. I'm Stephanie Forbes, and so I work with adults mostly. I've recently started working with a lot more children because they just come into my life. They just keep popping in, and I keep being guided to do more children's events. And I'm all about intuition, so I follow my intuition. When the universe says, do this workshop, I do it. So this is what I'm seeing when I work with adults and doing intuitive Reiki. I get to see a lot of people who have gone through life with all of their life experiences. Sometimes they've dealt with those life experiences as they've come, sometimes they haven't. So what I find is what has happened is over time, that has all accumulated and created the I'm not happy with my life, I'm not well, I've lived my life for someone else, and now I'm kind of lost and trying to figure out where to go from here. So a lot of that I see, and a lot of illness comes from going against the grain of who you authentically are. So, sometimes we are afraid to stand in our power and live our lives according to what we actually truly want deep down inside. Do you want me to close that?
Sure. Doesn't matter to me, I just thought I saw my kid, that's why.
You did, she just sit down for
I'll just close it. If anyone wants to come in, they can. So what I'm seeing is a lot of lost souls. So what I felt was, how can we change this for the future generation? So all of our kids that we're having, we're doing things a little bit differently now because I'm seeing through my work that the old paradigm of parenting isn't actually working anymore. So what worked for people before us isn't working now. So I really am passionate about making sure that kids don't end up growing up losing themselves like a lot of us have. I want them to be comfortable with who they are, to follow through with their heart and their interests and everything like that. So if you think about the old style of parenting, you were taught, don't speak unless you're spoken to. Don't show those emotions, hide them, keep them in, don't talk about it, we don't talk about that, don't act that way, don't do that, no, 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 no. And what we're doing right now is we're seeing that it's not working. So we have to shift the way we parent, we have to shift the way we view things. So what's happening is we're letting kids talk about their feelings, because if they don't, they act out, they get sick, they have all of these different problems. And so what's important, sorry, that's okay, hello. So we're seeing a need to shift in the way we parent. So to empower today's children, it's important that we let them be who they are. So, I was just talking about how previous generations were like, don't speak unless you're spoken to, and kind of don't do what your heart says, do what I did. Like, well, your father's a lawyer and your grandfather's a lawyer, so you have to be a lawyer, that kind of thing. Now we're like, oh, you like to color and art is your thing, then we let that be, empowering them to be true to themselves and to actually fulfill their passions and love who they are unconditionally. So that's what I saw in adults, was that a lot of people were lost and confused. So what had to happen was we had to teach the kids how to keep their magic, because we're all born with this magic, which is our true authentic selves, the beauty that's within us, our intuition, our connection to nature, all of that stuff. So it's a passion of mine to make sure that we help kids understand, the whole concept of bullying. There's a lot of people that are anti-bullying, and I don't like that, because what's happening is we're saying out loud what we don't want, and we're focused on what we don't want, rather than pro-love. Love yourself, send love out to the bullies that are acting that way. It's kind of like a new way of thinking, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with it because it's so different. But really what's happening is we need to see the understanding that the kids that are acting out because there's something missing underneath it all. So you have to look at the soul behind the behavior. The behavior's there because of human conditioning, the human experiences that they have, their circumstances. We're not born that way. Aren't born to bully, right? So you have to help the kids see a compassionate viewpoint. So that helps actually, because you're sending out love into the situation rather than getting them to fight back and to bully back. Hi, buddy. Hi, guys. Welcome. That's okay. So we're talking about the anti-bullying campaigns, and I'm all about the pro-love. Teach kids how to love themselves. Also teaching kids how anything that comes at them, if there's bullying that comes at them, it's actually not even about them. It's not about the kid that's getting bullied, it's about the kid that's bullying. So what can your child do when they're being bullied? Obviously, get a grown up. That's just what you have to do. You can't diffuse the situations at that level, right? So what can you do is teach them to not take things personally, to own that they have the power to see how beautiful and authentic they truly are, and what anybody else says to them is just nothing to do with them. It's a reflection of how the other person is feeling. So that shifts the child into compassion rather than hatred and anger towards someone who's treating them bad. So it's not to say let's hold hands and be friends because you're mean to me. It's saying I can see your pain behind that behavior. So complimenting them. I watched a really good video called The End of Victimhood by Matt Kahn on YouTube. Matt Kahn, K-A-H-N. Very, very inspiring, really helps you understand how to end that role of victimhood that a lot of us carry with us. Anyway, so it's something important that you can actually teach your kids too, is to not fight against what they don't want, but to be pro-love and kindness. So someone's being mean to you, you throw kindness back at them. People don't know how to react to that, so they can't keep throwing out angers at you, right? So I'm all about creating, in my job that I do, my daily job with doing intuitive Reiki sessions, is that I help people see the love within them. I help people see their authentic selves, and they can find peace in their hearts when they release all of that, all of the things that people have said to them, all the things that have happened to them, and understand from a spiritual perspective why all that happened. Not the victimhood of why is this happening to me, but the why did this happen to me? What's the bigger picture? What was I supposed to learn from this? So that's what I'm really passionate about teaching the kids about, is to understand the dynamic of why people are the way they are, and to see it from that source cause, the source reason for people throwing out, the anger that they throw out, and to love them anyway, to love them behind all that behavior, because it's just behavior, it's not actually the person. So I like to help kids with that. So also with empowering kids is to have them take ownership of how they feel. So, oh, this person said this about you, it doesn't matter what they said. So teaching them that, because there's going to be situations, kids are learning how to function in social situations, right? So kids are going to say things, kids don't really know a lot of, they know what's right and what's wrong, their intuition guides them with that, but they don't realize sometimes that they're hurting someone when they say something. So I'll use an example. The other day, there's this kid in my daughter's class that's really good at, she's like really good at lots of things. My daughter's really good at gymnastics, so there's a bar at the playground. She was swinging around the bar, just doing her thing, because that's what she was passionate about. And this girl's like, you're such a show off. So that sets in, right? She's like, oh, so there's something wrong with what I was doing? I was doing something that I love. What am I going to do about that? I'm going to feel sad about it. So she comes home and she tells me that because it affected her. And what I had to teach her was that sometimes people are, skilled at things that you're not skilled at. Sometimes you're skilled at things that they're not skilled at. And sometimes people really love to be really good at everything, and if they're not, they're going to want to try to do something to change, to bring you down, to make themselves feel better. It's nothing personal. It wasn't my daughter's fault, there was nothing wrong, and it wasn't this child's fault. She was just feeling a little insecure because she wasn't the best at that. Do you know what I mean? So understanding that it's not personal. So helping your child understand, because you can go to the other kid's parents and say, your kid did this and they did that. You can't change the way other people behave. You can't change that. There's great things about communicating, that kind of thing, but in the end, you're the one having the parenting influence over the child and helping them learn to be empowered within themselves, to not take that stuff personally. So it's a tricky thing. I have one very confident child, and I have one kid who needs a little bit more of that extra empowerment. So it's an ongoing learning experience. I don't claim to be a parenting expert in any way, shape, or form. I'm a parent. 13 and 8 are my kids' ages. I do the best I can. I'm an awakened parent, so I'm very conscious of the decisions that I make for my kids. I'm conscious about the things that I do. I'm also conscious about the things that I need to heal within myself. So if you think about the triggers that you have when your kids act a certain way, when your kids act a certain way, it pushes your buttons and it drives you crazy. In that moment, you want to react, right? But you have to really reflect and respond. Say, what is it within me that I need to heal that I'm seeing from that child? So it really, there's things that have happened to us as children, we don't remember it. Sometimes our kids, we have these children and they show us some trigger and we totally forgot about it, but all of a sudden there it is. So I'll use another example. I like to use my own personal examples because I think it helps relate, right? So my parents divorced when I was 4. They were teenage parents, so I've always been very grateful for that. I was never seemingly affected by that breakup because I was 4 and I didn't have the capacity to understand what to do with those emotions, right? Like, what do you do with the emotions of all of a sudden you're with a family unit and then you're not? So, you know, my parents being young, they didn't really know to explain things, you know, so that I can understand at my immature level, being a 4-year-old. So what happened was I went on with my life. My mom would ask my teachers, how's Steph doing? Is she okay? And teachers would be like, yeah, she's fine. And then skip to when my firstborn turned 4, I started getting all micromanaging and control and like, there was clearly something happening within me and I was like, where is this coming from? So I have a lot of intuitive friends and I just happen to ask them, does anybody have any insights as to where this is coming from? Like, I have this weird energy between my daughter and I want to know what it is so I can help clear it. And everyone had really good answers, and then the last person turned to me and she said, what happened to you at that age that you need to heal from? And I was filled with emotion. I knew right away where it came from. And I was like, I always thought I was okay with that because I was always grateful for it, you know, grateful for the life that I've had. Because my parents weren't together, everything happened the way it was supposed to, right? Just like everybody's experiences. So I was like, wow, I didn't realize that. So send love to my inner child. You know, I love you just the way you are. Everything's okay. You know, just having that little inner dialogue. You can do a lot of meditations that send, you know, that you can work with your inner child. It's very eye-opening, I find, because every little thing is a trigger. And your kids reflect to you what you need to work on. And so the lady before me was talking about behavior and development with a different spin on it, with different levels of development, stuff like that. I'm just talking about behavior that triggers you. So if this is something that you don't like about yourself, your kids are going to show it to you. So I find that very fascinating because every time I'm a little annoyed, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I need to do that. I need to work on that. So it's really important to be very conscious about the things that you experience with your kids, because a lot of it is just showing you what to heal. I always say you heal the mama tree and the kids, the dad tree, and the kids get healed. It actually heals generations, the generations before and the generations after you when you work on you. That is primary. We don't have to work and try to fix the kids. There's nothing wrong with the kids. There's nothing wrong with us either. But we have to work on how we perceive ourselves and that we love ourselves unconditionally and we love and approve and accept all of our life experiences because they brought us to this point. And the power that we have is what we do from here. So that's the same thing you can teach your kids. It's like you can't control anybody else's behavior, actions, words. All you can control is how you react and will respond to it. We are or are. So a lot of times too, empowering the kids with speaking about their emotions. Another example, when my daughter started grade 7 last year, she all of a sudden was having these panic attacks, like scary, should I call 911 panic attacks. And it was happening like every day, a couple times a day, through the night, everything like that. And she's a very mellow kid, but she's very like, I need to know who's there, what's going on. She's just very organized, very, you know, and so she was going from this very comfortable school setting that she was top of the school, she was very familiar with everybody that was there, to a big, big high school where there was a wide range of people. So she started getting all these panic attacks the whole first 2 months of school. And we were like, I'm very aware of that emotions creating the physical experience, right? So she was writing out all her feelings, all the things that bothered her, we were burning it. We were doing affirmations. She had reminders on her phone to be grateful for change, and change is good. And you know, in her locker, she had these things. And I went to pick her up from school once, and the secretary said, "Wow, so many kids are out. So many grade 7s, you know, first year in this big school, are out sick this month." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting, because everyone processes change differently." So if you think about something that suddenly was never happening to your child, and all of a sudden it's happening to them, consider what's going on emotionally, energetically, because emotions are energy with them. That's creating the physical experience. So it's very interesting when you start to see it that way, because every little thing, even a headache, even, you know, you stubbed your toe, like it all comes from an emotional source that creates you having the physical experience. So I was like, interesting, all of these grade 7s going into this new giant school with people they didn't know, teachers they weren't comfortable with, hallways that were so huge, and they're all having these physical reactions. So how many of those parents were saying, let's address the emotions, let's go with the flow of change? So I really, really am passionate about encouraging people to really consider what's going on emotionally when there's anything physical going on. So just kind of take a little bit of reflection on that, and where your kids are all parents. You working with kids? Yeah. Ish. So yeah, I just feel like it's very empowering for you and for them when you start to really look at it that way. Okay, you seem to be struggling with something, you have some kind of physical thing going on. Where is this coming from? What's changed in your life? My daughter wears her emotions on her physical body like so quickly, like something that she was having trouble with. She had a sore throat one day. I'm like, is there something on your mind that you need to express? Is there something that you're holding back that you really need to say? And no, doesn't think of it because she's on the spot when I'm asking, right? Well, that night at bedtime, well, this happened and I wanted to share. Like, you know, all of a sudden all this stuff comes out. So it's really important to take that time to find out what's going on in your emotions. Don't wait until they're adults and they've held everything in, and then it creates physical illness. So, you putting your hand up?
Yeah.
No.
You're describing me.
Oh, it's a lot of people. If you think about all the physical illness that's going on right now, there's a lot of it. And you think about the parenting, it's not to say that parents are to blame, because we need to own our thing right now, right? What we do with it right now. It's to say, look at how it's changed. We're very much shifting that parenting paradigm into more conscious parenting. So being very interactive with the child rather than saying, go play and lock the door and don't let them in until the streetlights go out. It's very different. We're very much more involved and in tune with our kids. So that's very important. I like to talk about intuition because I'm an intuitive soul seer, so that's what I do for a living. But intuition is so important, and I always was not anti, I was pro trust your vibes rather than don't talk to strangers, because I always say don't talk to strangers. Well, I don't say that, but I used to. And then I was like, well, I'm such a hypocrite. I talk to everyone. My kids are like, well, you can't talk to strangers, but you can. It doesn't make sense. I always said, trust your vibes. If you are around someone and it doesn't feel good, go the other way. If you're outside playing and someone's walking by and you don't feel safe, come in the house. I never forced them to hug anyone. There were some family members that were like, your daughters don't like me. And it was never anything personal. It was they were like, I'm not feeling good about your energy right now. And it doesn't mean that that person's a bad person. It just means they are trusting their vibes. There's a lot of people that I come into contact with that I wouldn't be like, come over to my house, let's have coffee kind of thing, because the vibe is off, right? Trusting the vibes that you're a good match for that person. It's the same with kids. They're forced into a classroom and there's a lot of different energies there. My daughter used to have a tantrum the whole way home from kindergarten every day. Oh, this is embarrassing, down the street. Because she had been around everybody's energy all day, like a sponge, just soaking it in, because they're very sensitive to that. So she would get home or be with me after school, and that I'm her safe place, so she can let it all out. So is the child misbehaving in that situation? No, she's releasing some pent-up energy and some stuff she's soaked in throughout the day from other people. You think about all the different households, all in the same room all day long, and then all of a sudden you're feeling everybody's feelings and everything like that. It's a lot to handle. So no wonder kids are melting down. So be that safe place for them when they need to release that. Sometimes that's all it is. You know, teaching them techniques like stomping on the ground to really put it all into the earth, keeping them connected with the earth. You know, if a timeout would never work with my daughter Isla, there was no way. She would be like, I'm marched to be my own drum, you can't keep me in my room, I'm not gonna sit on the stairs and look at a lava lamp. Like, nothing like that would work with her. What worked was, go sit in the hammock underneath the tree. That's all she needed. It was like this. All of a sudden, she was able to just let it all out into the tree. The tree just transmutes it. So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution to these kinds of emotional outbursts, but try out the different ones. It's, not every kid can do a timeout, but they will connect with nature. They will, if you teach them to understand how to release all of that extra energy that they don't need, that's not theirs, that they've kind of sponged up throughout the day, into the ground. Get them connected with the earth, because the earth can help with that. So that's why I teach a lot of these kids workshops where we're connecting with the earth. We're doing meditations and getting grounded underneath a tree and putting our feet in the mud. And if your kids have come, your daughter has come home dirty from like camps before, because that's what we do, right, Sydney? Just connecting them with nature and letting them run free and wild and stomp around and release all that pent up energy. Does anybody have any questions about anything in specific that I can maybe give you a little bit of insight on? No, like specific childhood stuff? Yeah.
What's your daughter's name?
My daughters? My oldest is Evie, and my youngest is Isla. Evie's 13.
Which school is she?
Tis. No? And my youngest is 8. Do you know? You probably don't know her. No. She's out there somewhere. She's wearing the same color as I am. Just opposite. What else did I want to say? Is anybody open to a child meditation? I can send love and empowerment to the children in your life from here, right now.
Yeah.
That's okay that they're here. We'll send love to them. What's your son's name again? Cameron. I don't know why I forget that. So, okay, so if you want, just put your feet down onto the floor to keep us grounded. I want you to just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. I want you to envision the children in your life. It could be your kids, it could be kids that are close to you, kids that you work with. I want you to just envision them, and I want you to see them filled with white light and love. Just their entire body, just light as a cloud. Filling them with love. I want you to see that light within them shining so bright. That bright spark of light that we're all born with. Our passion, our purpose, in alignment with their true self. Expand that bright light so it fills them completely. Expand that bright light so that it goes outside of them and all around them. Send a blast of love from your heart to theirs. They are safe. They are loved. They are beautiful just as they are. Continue to take another deep breath. I want you to expand that light to all the children in the community. And further and further. These children are our future. Their thoughts and feelings are important. We'll continue to let them know this. Keep them open to who they are. We are grateful to have them in our lives. We are grateful to be the chosen ones that have been picked to guide them and to let them be free to be themselves and express themselves. We value and honor their individuality. We keep them wrapped in love so that they can go on about their day empowered and safe and happy and healthy. Thank you for being the parents and the counselors and the guides in their life. That bright shining light that guides them. We don't own them, but they've chosen us to be those beautiful guides for them so they can live their authentic lives. With love and gratitude, we come back into the room. Our kids empowered. These kids empowered. So if there's no other questions, thank you so much for being here. and for listening, for coming to the event, and for helping with the event.